Christians, we were not allowed to be with Hindus because they perform pujas using mantras. The Christians say that the mantras bring out the evil in people, that the devil is within them. When they didn't keep their promise to make me a priest, I left the religion and reconverted back to Hinduism. While I was Christian, I couldn't be with my family, was not allowed to be with my family, because they have Hindu beliefs. But now we are back together again. Christianity ruins families. Once I became Hindu again, the Christian people created a lot of trouble for me and my family and for my village. There was a raid between the Hindus and the Christians, and the police came with tear gas. The Christians persecuted me by telling the police that I started the raid against them. Now I am facing court cases and many financial difficulties.
How many years were you Christian?
20 years.
20 years?
I am 22 years old. I was Christian the first 20 years of my life. I have been Hindu for the past 2 years. My uncle is the Christian priest in my village. When I was Christian, my family used to eat together every day. But now that I am Hindu, my uncle never comes to my house anymore. He doesn't want to talk to me because he hates Hindus. 70% of the people in my village are Christians. We have been taught since childhood that Hindus are evil people possessed by devils and demons. We were told not to play with them or talk to them. We were not allowed to enter their homes or eat their food in case the evil entered into us. Life between Hindus and Christians is full of hate. We don't talk if we meet somewhere in the village, and we don't ever work together. If a well needs to be excavated or a road needs to be repaired, we don't even share the same well. The Christians live at one end of the village and the Hindus at the other end. In that way, we don't share the roads either. I used to be very afraid of the Hindus. Our church performs healings. Every 2 weeks, there will be big gatherings with other churches from the district, and priests come from abroad to speak, preach, and give healings. They tell us, amongst other things, that the power of the evil will possess us if we don't go to the church or come for these big gatherings. The church in the village next to ours gives money to the people for their conversions, so many people are tempted to accept Christianity. When I was a Christian, everybody wanted to be like the Americans. For us, the West did feel more civilized than our own culture. We thought that we were better than the Hindus. It felt as if the Hindus were stranger for us, and that they didn't belong here in our village. Now, after I have become a Hindu, my Christian friends since childhood don't speak with me. I guess that they are afraid of me now, thinking that I must be possessed by the devil.
I found that there are 3 groups of Christians working in the area: the Catholics, the Protestants, and a 3rd group who masquerade as Christians, but I would say are a type of mafia extorting money and using violence against villages to further their own ends. This last group is the largest.
In my district, 95% of the populations are Christians now. There are 17 Christians and only 4 Hindus in my political committee, so the balance of power falls with the Christians. In the last 5 years, there has been an explosion of new Christians. They vote for the Congress Party, which is governed from abroad in the West. Many times I have attended big Christian church gatherings with 15 to 20,000 people. They perform healings. Sometimes I have brought a sick friend, but they will never take that person for healing. They only use people who are instructed to act sick and then pretend to be healed. They say hallelujah all the time. The Father will speak and call God and Jesus and put his hand on the sick one. Christians are told to burn and step on pictures of Hindu gods. After these meetings, the priest drinks alcohol, uses bad language, and talks about women. Many times I have been offered a Christian conversion. Many of the fathers and pastors are my friends because of my political activities. They say that I could have a new house and a good income if I convert. The priests get money from different organizations in Europe and USA by applying for a project that sounds good. Then they pocket the money. When the priest and his helpers convert new people, they are given money. They earn 1,000 rupees for a group of people and 50 to 100 rupees for one or two people. The priest earns double the amount of a pastor. The priest also gets money from every prayer he performs in the church. Every person who comes to pray in the church will put between 5 to 20 rupees in a box for the priest. A while ago, there was a report in the newspaper exposing a priest, pastor, and his helpers who took advantage of the women in a church. During prayers, the lights went out and the women were raped. It was a big scandal. Anybody can start a church and apply for money, and many are doing it. The Christians also take advantage of the Indian government by developing programs for poor Hindu farmers. Christian people cannot apply for this money. It is only designed for Hindus. On the application form they will say that they are Hindus. In that way, they can be awarded the money from different projects. Anything built by Christians is not available for Hindus. The Christians don't share. A Hindu can have a glass of water from a Christian well, but he cannot give water to his cow. Of course, there is a law against this, but who is there to control things? The Christians create anti-Hindu and anti-national feelings, and they are changing the Hindu culture.
From threats, bribes, promises to simple mind games, all three groups use all sorts of methods to convert these villages. A missionary takes school children on a sightseeing trip. In the middle of nowhere, the bus supposedly breaks down and the driver says he cannot get it started again. The children are asked to pray to the Hindu gods to help them. And when the driver tries again, the bus still does not start. Now let us all pray to Jesus, he says. And not surprisingly, Jesus has listened to their prayers. The bus starts. The missionaries take advantage of the poverty, illiteracy, and the innocence of the villages. The same thing is happening not only in Gujarat, but all over India. Most of those who have been converted do not even know if they are Catholics or Protestants. They only know the name of the priest in the local church.
We got converted to Christianity because our son was very sick. We were promised that he would be healed in the church. We were Christians for 7 years, but our son was not cured. That phase was very difficult for us because we could not take support from our family, who were Hindus. We could not be with them. We were told that it was because of Hindu influence that our son was sick. After 7 years, our son was still very sick, so we decided to reconvert back to Hinduism. Now our son is not sick anymore. There were big church meetings once a month held by foreign priests. In these, they would tell us not to go into a Hindu house where Hindu rituals were performed. We were told not to chant Hindu mantras and not to dress in the traditional Indian way. Christian women are not allowed to wear bindis and bangles and everything else that we traditionally wear as Hindus. We should not take any food from Hindus either. We were told that we could eat meat from cows